stopping, homie, regardless. And I ain't stopping, no, I ain't stopping. I'm just getting started. Let's go. My skin is pale, but I'm a black sheep. Riding through the city, Satan in the backseat. Hey yo, that's me, I run it like a track meet. A rap fiend, I set the bar high like an athlete. Step in the booth and Zach gon' drop that 808. Cause the vibe is dope and the beat is cracking, now it's getting laced. I'm sharp as a razor blade, I can blow your mind like JFK. I do what I want, you ain't gonna box me in like David.
What's good, everybody? I'm Danny D-Lo, and this is Danny D-Lo Biker TV. In this episode, I'm going to break down my sound system, the whole installation, and I'm going to break it down on how to do a cost-effective big sound system in your Harley. I have a 2005 Electroglide Classic. Now, clearly, I've rebuilt this bike from top to bottom, back to front. It's completely done, custom, aftermarket, you name it. Big motor, big tranny, rims, all that goodness, right? Of course, you gotta add the digital gauges because, I mean, damn, why would you want stock gauges? But anyway, that being said, I did a cost-effective sound system in it. And I'm gonna tell y'all right now, man, those of you guys that are gonna shout out Hertz and all the rest of them BS companies that charge you entirely too much for the speakers, bro, you could pay $500-$600 for 2 speakers. Are you serious? And they still gonna blow if you don't hook your shit up right. And they're still not gonna be any louder than any other competition speaker out there. Guys, there's too many shops out here that are charging you like 10, 8, 15, even $20,000 to install a sound system. Well, y'all already know how I get down. I do all my own work myself in the house. I try my best to do my own stuff. I don't like paying anybody no money, and I certainly don't like anybody touching my motorcycle. So that being said, right after this, we're going to get into it. I'm going to show you the whole installation from start to finish. And then at the end, I'm going to give you all a sound off so you can hear the sound system. And I'm also going to tell you the products that I bought, how much I spent, and all that goodness. So let's jump right into this video right now. It's another rainy day, so you know the drill. Let's go in the shop and hook up a badass sound system on my Harley. So we about to fill this empty hole. Trust me guys, it looks way more intimidating than what it really is. From this side it looks okay, but when you get to the other side you're like, oh no, what's going on here? So all this wiring will not make absolutely any sense to you until the end. All this wiring is just all over the place, and if you know anything about the older model baggers, there's just no way to really do a clean install, and there's no way to clean up all the wiring. So we're going to fill this hole with a new radio. But first, I'm going to show you what I did. I made these little wooden blocks, drilled holes, put some little tappets in the back. And what this is it acts as a brace between the radio and the fairing bracket. I pressed these little things in, and we're about to make these bolts go in there. But before I grind these bolts down, I want to give y'all my Soulster Ghost impression. What's up, homie? Yeah, I got a mask too. It's not as cool as yours though. So here I am. I'm going to throw these bolts in the vise. And yes, I use my mask as my grinding mask because God forbid you don't use any eye protection. Ooh, you get a piece of hot metal in your eyeball. I know some of y'all already know what I'm talking about. It ain't no fun. So all I'm doing here is I'm cutting the bolts down a little bit, because one of the biggest things you don't want is you don't want your bolt to go too far in the radio. You can damage the insides of the radio, and the next thing you know, you're trying to figure out why your radio is not working, why speakers aren't sounding right, why things ain't working right. And yeah, now you need a new radio because you done messed it all up. So now it's time to go ahead and screw these wooden blocks in. What these wooden blocks do, it'll make sense in a minute here. I'm sure you can buy them, but as y'all see clearly, I like to make all my own stuff if I can. So I just made little pieces of blocks of wood, measured them up, mounted them, and what this does is it goes on the side of the radio and the radio mounts to the fairing brackets, which acts as a brace for the radio. Plus, it sturdies up your brace for your front fairing as well. So now that those are on, we're almost ready to go in. All we got to do now is put the plastic piece on. As always, I clean everything before I do my install because y'all see how anal I am about keeping my bike clean. I'm very big on everything being clean, shiny, and looking right. So all this is it just fills in the gap in the hole in the fairing, so the radio looks nice and clean and installed in there. So this is just putting a little piece on. I forget what you even could call it. It's just a little plastic ring that goes around the radio that just looks kind of cool, I guess. So now that that's done, now for the hard part. This part, it's kind of a pain. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, man. Because of the fairing bracket and because of those wooden blocks, it's not easy to just slide the radio in. So you gotta finagle it around. You're gonna mess around and move it around here and there. You're gonna feel like you're breaking something, but trust me, it can take a pounding just like your old lady. So don't worry about it. Just get it in there. Be careful, you know. Be eyeful. Look at everything. But once you get it in, everything's pretty much smooth sailing from there on in. So now that I finally got that radio in, this is where you want to put your brackets on. Now, as you see, I pointed out I'm using a round head Allen. Always use a long one because it's hard to get up inside of there. And this is just tightening down the radio, and this will brace the radio in the fairing, and it'll also help brace your fairing as well. So once you're all done with this, everything's all nice and tight and ready to start installing everything else, basically. So now here I am fast forwarding. This is me cutting the wires. I'm putting actually a bigger gauge wire because these speakers handle a lot more power than my old boom audio system. So I'm using thicker gauge wiring for all my speakers. Of course, I'm soldering all my ends. You may notice me using a lighter here. It's because my soldering gun completely shit the bed on me. So I just used the lighter, heated up each end until I could melt it or get it hot enough so I could put my solder on. And you know what? It actually worked just fine. It probably worked better than a soldering gun, to be honest with you. So now I'm just going to start running my wires, start making my own little wiring loom. I'm just using electrical tape just to make it look neat. The wires are already protected inside the fairing for the most part, so there's no need to, you know, go overboard. So now I'm just soldering all the ends and connecting all the wires and cutting them, putting new wire in, and then I'm going to run the wiring and kind of try to clean up this rat's nest of a Harley mess they got going on up here. One thing I want to add, don't be afraid to move some wires around and relocate some wire looms and stuff like that. As long as you don't put any kinks or too much of a crazy bend in the wiring, you'll be fine. I like to try to do the cleanest install I possibly can. I don't like seeing wires, but obviously up here it's where everything is located, so there's just no way of getting around it, to be honest with you. So now what I'm doing is I'm soldering all my wiring in, my speaker wires, my remote wire, extending that, and just getting everything ready to install the amp, and then start hooking everything up and get that ready to roll. So now that all that wiring is done, before we button everything up, let's install the amp and give you guys a sound demo, make sure everything works properly.
My skin is pale, but I'm a black sheep. Riding through the city, Satan in the backseat. Hey yo, that's me, I run it like a track meet. A rap fiend, I fit the bar high like an athlete. Stepping through this act, I'm about that 808. Cause the vibe is dope, but the beat is cracking, now we're getting late. I'm sharp with the razor blade, I can blow your mind like JFK. I do what I want, you ain't gonna box me in like davidson. We get it poppin' on me day and night. Got the party jumping, about to break the ice. Stay up on my grind, that's my way of life. I got tunnel vision, I'ma chase that ray of light. On me day and night. Got the party jumping, about to break the ice. Stay up on my grind, that's my way of life. I got tunnel vision, I'ma chase that ray of light.
What's good? I'm back, y'all. Again, I'm Danny D-Lo. This is Danny D-Lo Biker TV, and this is Tech Talk with D-Lo. So, what kind of sound system did I go with? So, I used a Kenwood Bluetooth radio. Now, when it comes to the radio, you can damn near use any radio you want. If you're running an amp, you pretty much only need RCA jacks. So, I went with a Kenwood Bluetooth radio. It's a decent radio. It's got a little bit of function to it. That's the radio I went with. The amp I went with is a Soundstream. I believe it's a 550 watt amp or something like that. It's bumping really loud though. So I went with a Soundstream amp, and I used ds18 Pros for my speakers. I did two 6.5s up front, and I did two 6x9s in the back. Now this is just a small system. This ain't no competition system. This ain't nothing that's gonna get you in the record book or nothing like that. But you running 500 to 1,000 watts of pure power RMS through your sounds, through your speakers, I promise you, everybody's gonna hear you. I got a good brother of mine. Every time I'm about a half a mile to a mile away, he literally texts me and says, "Hey bro, I hear you. Why don't you stop by the crib? I'm gonna be out in the garage." So I mean, if you can hear me from that long away, I think I'm bumping pretty good, you feel me? So, and I got tickets to prove that my system's too loud. But it sounds really good. I really like the Soundstream amp just because of the sound. So I use ds18 Pros. When it comes to the speakers, if you're gonna use ds18, definitely go with the Pro, because they're waterproof and they definitely handle a lot of power. The magnets are huge on them. You may have, if you have an older model like me, you may have a little trouble fitting them in your fairing depending on the spacers you have. I got the XXL spacers in mine, and what I had to do is I had to shave the ends off as much as I could so that I could sink the speaker more in, and I also had to take the rubber off of the magnets so that I had room to put my fairing on so it would seal properly. But other than that, my sound system is bumping, y'all. And the ds18 Pros, they're about, I'm gonna round it off to about $100 per speaker. So you figure $400 for your speakers. You figure another, I believe it's $149.99 for the Soundstream amp. Another 150 to 200 bucks for a good radio. So you're looking at, 700 bucks, and my sound system's louder than damn near everybody else around. I mean, granted, I ain't got no subs in my bags, which I plan on doing that this summer, so be on the lookout for that video. I'm gonna put two 10-inch subs in each bag, so that way there I got a little more mid-range, a little more bass to the sound system, because my shit's really high. I had the tweeter bar system up on top from Harley. That's the only speaker that seems to still work from Harley. If you guys are thinking about going with like boom audio, scratch that idea. First of all, this method is way cheaper, and it's a way better quality system, and it'll outlast and outsound any Harley system you'll ever hear. And it's so much cheaper, man, so much cheaper. So that being said, this is my tech talk for my sound system. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I hope y'all have fun installing your sound systems. Those of you that might be doing that this summer or that want to, here's some tips for you. Now you know a decent product to use that's not gonna break your bank. I mean, yeah, you know, it ain't no cheap Pioneer crap or something like that, but they're gonna last. They're waterproof. They can handle a lot of power, and you'll be very happy with the sound. And I mean, very happy. I'm extremely happy with my system right now. I bang my system all day, every day, and I ain't got a crack or nothing in my speakers yet, not yet. So kind of thankful for that, because I ain't gonna lie, I've gone through all kinds of speakers. I've gone through Scar Audio, I've gone through Hog Tunes, Boom Audio. I've gone through Hog Tunes, wasn't too bad, but they still blew. I've gone through numerous amount of like Pioneer 6.5s, Kenwoods, Alpines, Sonys. I've gone through all of them, man, and they all blew like within a month to 2 months. They were blowing and gone. And it wasn't that I didn't hook it up right, because as you can see, I do this stuff. I've been doing this stuff since I was a kid. You know, any OG from the old neighborhood and any city, especially Chicago, man, we all hooked up our own systems. That's what we did every weekend, hooking up my boy's system. He just got a new car. We're gonna go cruising around bumping. That's what we did. That was our thing. And that's still my thing to this day. Just now I transferred over to the motorcycle thing, you know. So be on the lookout for the new video where I'm gonna be adding 2 more amps, 2 more subs, maybe 2 more 6x9s, just for some extra noise pollution. So until the next episode, as always, keep it real and keep it 100. And one last thing, I hope y'all enjoy your 4th of July. Stay safe, drive safe, ride safe. Be on the lookout for all the drunk people that are out of town, rolling through on their way home. They might run you over, man. Pay attention, man. People on these cell phones, it ain't no joke. Y'all seen what happened to me. I damn near got ran over. I basically did get run over at a stoplight because some jerk was more interested in his phone than my life. So always be paying attention to your mirrors when you're at stoplights. Always be paying attention to the people in front of you, on the side of you. Man, just pay attention to your surroundings and make sure that you slow down at intersections and stuff like that when there's a car coming, man. You never know if somebody's gonna run that stoplight. They might be running from the police, they might be drunk, not paying attention on their phone, whatever the case may be. I trust and believe they don't care about you or me. So be safe, be careful, don't drink and drive. Don't be an amateur, don't be stupid. Don't believe this biker bullshit where all the bikers are, oh yeah, we like to drink and go out riding. Those ain't bikers, those are fucking asshats. They're straight up clowns in the community. So keep it real and keep it 100. Peace, man.